Hi, I'm Jim Knotts, President and CEO of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund. Welcome to today's virtual reading of the names. 2022 marks the 40th anniversary of the dedication of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. As part of our commemoration, we'll host an in-person reading of the names at the wall from November 7th through 10th, 2022, when all 58,281 names on the wall will be read aloud. In the lead up to that event, we'll be reading names each day online while sharing the photos of these heroes. For our daily virtual reading, the names of the service members will be read by month and day of death between the years 1956 and 1975 in alphabetical order for the given day. We apologize in advance for any mispronunciations. Know that our readers are doing their best to honor these service members. We hope you'll listen and watch each day and share with others as we remember and honor those who gave their lives during the Vietnam War.
Stephen Arthur Anderson, Richard Charles Archer, Joseph Archuleta, Gary Adrian Barnard, John Joseph Barzan, Curtis Lee Batten, William Ronald Beasley, Dennis Newt Blaine, Charles David Bolt, Peter Robert Bossman, William David Bothwell, Alfred Lee Bradley, Sammy Barella, Jr., Larry James Calloway, William Arthur Campbell, Dale Stewart Chamberlain, Peter Chan, James William Cheek, Herbert Phoc Dong Cho, James Bruce Collins, Gerald Allen Cooper, David Lawrence Cowart, Stephen C. Crabtree, William Edward Kraft, Ronald Marcel Cron, Clifton Emmett Cushman, Lowry Taylor Cuthbart, Ronald Leon Delvord, Gary Russell Dopp, Larry Jean Drown, Philip Allen Duquette, John William Easton, Benell Ellis, Mark Allen Ellsworth, Johnny Raymond Esquierdo, Robert Dwayne Fellows, Robert Jr. Fishley, Charles Lewis Ford, Douglas Lawrence Fried, Roger Allen Volkerson, Herman Eugene Fuller, Jr., Clifford Warren Gibbs, George Earl Glenn, Jr., Charles Henry Goldmeyer, Jerry Francis Gredjowski, Virgil Raymond Greamy, Arthur William Green, Kenneth Leslie Green, Randolph Clinton Grimes, Lloyd Harold Grimes II, Charles Maury Hallstrom, Jackie Philip Heil, Richard D. Henry, Donald Merle Hendricks, Jr., David Paul Henry, William Ernest Hill, Daniel Jerome Hilton, James Edward Holder, Donnell Howard, Roy Donald Hutting, David Roland Jackson, Howard Wade Jackson, James Ivan Jackwish, John Allen Jenkins III,
Terry J. Johnson, William C. Johnson, Jr., Gregory Joseph Casper, Bruce Leonard Kennedy, John Lester Kitzmiller, Jerry Owen Lafayette, Herman Lancaster, Jr., Robert John Lowland, Jr., John William Lupu, Dennis Wilfred Marcotti, Ernest Raymond Marty, Harry Leroy Mays, Patrick John McGuire, James Paul McLaughlin, T. Z. Merriweather, James Edward Miller, John Jerome Miller, Jr., Emil Max Miltnovich, James Henry Morgan, Bernard Philip Murray, Stephen Wayne Neville, Jerry Lester Newbrand, Ronnie Lee Nosef, Richard Laughlin O'Leary, William Herschel Palmer, Lonnie Ronald Parker, Vernon Howard Parker, Jr., Norman McLeod Paulson, Keith Francis Pirelli, Jerry Dean Pillsbury, Gus Pippins, Carol Stephen Plum, David William Pulich, Terry Lynn Pudsack, Lewis R. Randall, Dean Wesley Ryder, Ronald Chester Rogowski, Johnny Steve Rotan, Ernest Leroy Rowe, Gary Russell Schmidt, Carl Albert Schmidt, Jr., David Thomas Seaton, Joseph William Sebastian, Willie James Smith, Alan Dwayne Smith, Everett Harold Smith, Jr., James D. Stallings, Douglas C. Sterry, Paul Ray Staton, Harold J. Sturgill, Jr., Michael Kent Sublet, Bruce Edward Thomas, James Irvin Tompkins, Randy Van Turner, Jeffrey Paul Vaughn, Robert Mitchell Waters, Larry William Whitcomb, Leroy Williams, Lawrence Williams, Jr., Walter Williams, Jr., Heine Willis, Robert Blaine Works, Bertram Wood, Jr., David Darrell Wooten, Richard Max Yelland,